Something about this just isn't adding up, because apparently the rules around protest depend on who's marching. In a recent interview with Trevor Phillips, Kemi Badenoch argued that pro-Palestine marches should face restrictions. What is the reasoning?
Kemi Badenoch, the government refused entry to several foreign activists yesterday who headed for the United Kingdom march in London. Were they right to do so?
So the government and the security services have the right to make a call on who comes into the country. I'm less interested in what foreigners want to come and do here. I'm more interested in what the people of this country are concerned about. We have a right to protest, but there is no right for everybody to come to our country to protest. They should explain what the reasons were. I'm really concerned about the fact that we needed 4,000 police in London. I'm an Essex MP. This impacts people outside London, where they're taking our police officers. People have to cancel their leave to police these endless protests that are going on in London. Dozens of people constantly being arrested. It's having an impact on the whole country.
Would you have banned either of these marches, the Palestine Action one or the Tommy Robinson march?
So I have said that we should now start banning the pro-Palestinian marches because they are creating a climate of intimidation and fear against Jewish people. All this globalize the Intifada and from the river to the sea nonsense is a cover for wiping out Jewish people. We've seen
people on those marches who don't think that that's what they're doing.
That may be the case, but there are others who know what that's about, and it's encouraging them. We've seen murders at a synagogue in Heaton Park. We have seen what happened in Golders Green just a few weeks ago, 2 attempted murders. I think it's time. We should call time on that.
The Tommy Robinson march, anything on that concerned you?
So I obviously didn't go there. I think that it's one of those marches where there are lots of people who are going for good reasons. There's some people who are going for not very good reasons, but it's a different kind of thing. They are talking about uniting the kingdom. The other march is about something happening much further away, about pro-Palestine. It's been going on weekly for much longer.
Are you sure you're not applying some double standards here?
No. What I'm not doing is spending time focusing on the things that don't matter to the people of this country. There are people in this country who are worried about energy. They don't know where their next meal is coming from. They don't know if they're going to be able to keep their house. We've got a government that is spending all its time focused on itself rather than the issues that are in the country. And these marches, in my view, are not the number one thing that's on the minds of your viewers.
One quick thing about
the cost of living in their lives.
One quick thing about these marches, though. Tommy Robinson said yesterday that to the crowd, and I'm quoting him here, you have to join a political party. A very democratic thing to say. He says, I don't care if it's reform, if it's advance, or if it's restore, or if it's the Conservative Party. You're glad to get Tommy Robinson encouraging people to join your party?
So I'm not a supporter of Tommy Robinson. I don't endorse his views.
The fact that he thinks the Conservative Party might be a home for his supporters.
But he is free to speak his mind. He's free to speak his mind. He's not somebody who I'm a supporter of or who I endorse. He's someone who's had to go to prison for contempt of court. There's a lot of that he says that I disagree with. He is free to say that. What I want people to know is that the Conservative Party is a new party under a new leader. We have changed. If you join us, you've got to be a believer in our principles. We are the party of common sense. We don't want psychodrama. We don't want drama queens or people who are all about agitating. We want people who are thinking about how do we get more energy? How do we drill our oil and gas in the North Sea? How do we cut the welfare bill? We're spending more now on welfare than we get in income tax. That's what the Conservative Party is about.
You might not want Tommy Robinson himself. I'm sure you regard him as a bit of a drama queen. But does it worry a little bit that he thinks that the people who support him might actually be the sort of person that would be welcomed into the Conservative Party?
The Conservative Party is a party that's been in this country for 200 years. It has been the longest surviving political party in the history of democracy. We get majority support. We're coming back after a historic defeat, and we welcome support from people across this country, but it has to abide by our values. It's irrelevant what Tommy Robinson is saying. What's relevant is what I, the leader of the Conservative Party, is saying.
Now, let me be clear. Nobody should tolerate hate crimes. Nobody should feel unsafe because of their religion. And if criminals' acts happen, they should be dealt with. No excuses. But here's the question. Should entire movements be judged by the actions of a few people? Or should peaceful protests still be protected? Because here's the thing, if the principle is public safety, then surely it would apply equally to everyone. Because when we're talking about pro-Palestine marches, it's important to separate peaceful protesters from criminal acts. Many people attending those marches, if not 99% of those people, I would say, are there because of humanitarian concerns, because they oppose war, you know, or because they support Palestinian civilians. That doesn't automatically mean they support anti-Semitism. And if isolated crimes happen, surely those individuals should be dealt with. Not entire movements painted with the same brush, you know. So if the argument is that a small number of incidents justify restricting an entire protest movement, then shouldn't the exact same standard apply everywhere else too? Now, compare that to the Unite the Kingdom March, which, you know, I mean, there's a lot of views on that. But at that event, comments were made about Islam and Muslims that many people would see as deeply offensive, you know. You know, and a lot of what was said was directed at Muslims and Islam in such a negative way. I just wonder where things are going.
What would happen if you become a prime minister tomorrow? What would you change?
I would stop Islam. I'd end foreign funding in this country. All the migrants would be taken out of the hotels and sent back tomorrow by the military. I would reverse. I would have remigration. It's time for many Muslims to leave this country if they're not going to obey or assimilate. It's time to go home. You've got your homes to go to. This is our home. We've got nowhere to go to. We're not allowing it to change any longer. You've seen today, people are fed up, man. People are fed up.
Fed up. National sovereignty, safety and security.
Yeah, we're fed up.
And national identity.
Thank you. Go on.
So now people are asking a serious question. If the concern is language that causes fear or diversion, why are some marches defended as free speech while others are treated completely differently? Because to a lot of ordinary people watching this, it feels like one standard for one group and another standard for everybody else. And this is where people start asking deeper questions about politicians, about influence, about priorities, about whether decisions are being applied fairly. Some critics point to politicians' public positions on Israel and ask whether personal views or political interests shape how certain protests are treated. Others question political relationships, party alliances, and whether some voices are treated differently depending on the cause they support.
In London, 2 years ago, Suella Braverman emboldened the far right onto the streets to oppose supporters of Palestine, resulting in violence and attacks on police. 2 years and a genocide later, emboldened by a political class and ever-increasing authoritarian police, the far right is bigger than ever and takes to the streets on Nakba Day, while the Palestine protests are shackled by police and silenced by politicians. For Braverman and Tommy and many of these leaders / so-called patriots, this isn't about uniting the kingdom to protect the realm. This is about uniting the kingdom to defend Israel.
I very strongly rebut suggestions that Israel's in breach of international law, that there's a genocide, that there's a forced starvation. Quite the contrary.
Now, asking questions is not the same as making accusations. But people... Sorry, guys. But people are asking questions about consistency, questions about fairness, questions about transparency, you know, because if free speech matters, then it should matter consistently. If public safety matters, you know, then it should be applied consistently. And if peaceful protest is a dramatic right, then surely that right shouldn't depend on whether politicians agree with the cause. So, serious question, who are elected officials actually working for? Because right now, for a lot of ordinary people struggling with rent, mortgages, food prices, energy bills, and the cost of living, it doesn't feel like the public is coming first. And here is an overhead shot, more of a bird's eye view for you guys to see what the turnout actually really looked like for the Unite the Kingdom march. As you can see, the numbers are not nowhere near as dramatic as Tommy Robinson had made out. These are a clear sign of the amount of people that didn't show up, they're actually really fed up.
In late 2023, Suella Braverman, the Home Secretary at the time, referred to Palestine marches in London as hate marches.
To my mind, there's only one way to describe those marches. They are hate marches.
Suella Braverman went as far as explicitly stated Mark Rowley must go. It's important to note that Suella Braverman has family members currently serving in the Israeli military, alongside her Israeli husband, Rael Braverman. Braverman has now smoothly sidestepped into the government of tomorrow, Reform UK. Suella Braverman had a key silent ally in their bid to oust Rowley, none other than Tommy Robinson. In June 2024, Tommy Robinson held a rally specifically for the purpose of bringing down Mark Rowley.
We're about to start the march. Thousands and thousands have travelled here from across the country. We're going to go send a message to the establishment and the police. ResignMarkRowley.com. Cut the head off the snake. You've betrayed our country. You've oppressed our people. You've treated us like pieces of shit. We want peace and we will make it!
Which just goes to show how much people in this country now are actually seeing what Zionists are about and what influence the Israelis have with the UK governments. And I wonder if half the people that had voted for reform, known that the ties they have with Israel through Braverman and her husband, Rao Braverman, I doubt there would have been that many voters. And the way how I worked that out is by looking at how many people turned up to the march. Sorry guys, my cat's attacking me. And whether you agree with me or disagree with me, at least let's be honest about this. The rules should either apply equally for everyone, or they're not really rules at all. If you like my journalist work and would like to see more of this, please hit the subscribe button. And if you like what you see, hit that too. Thanks a lot. It really helps my channel and helps the algorithm. I am an independent journalist, part of the National Union of Journalists. I do frontline news gathering, and I am one of 5 journalists with a press card. My work is public interest mainly, and calling out government officials and corporate businesses and anything unfair.